Hello, tile friends. Welcome back to another episode of Tile Money. This is the podcast where we discuss the business of being a tile contractor. My name is Luke Miller, a tile contractor myself. This podcast, Tile Money, is brought to you by the National Tile Contractors Association. And this episode is sponsored by Laticrete International. In today's episode, I've got another interview, the final interview with Ben Santos. So this is number 4. If you didn't hear 1, 2, and 3, go back and check those out. Today, we discuss a handful of things, but the main thing we're discussing is what to do with the phone calls once they start rolling in from all the hard work you're putting in with your websites and blogs and Google, My Business, and YouTube channels. So Ben's been doing this, and we're talking about how he handles his phone calls, because his phone rings a lot. About 200 times last year, and that's just for a 2-person crew. And so he'll work for about 10% of those phone calls in the end. So we discuss why qualifying questions are so important to his business and why you too should have them prepared and practiced. All right, so before we get to this episode, I do have some industry news, and this is sponsored by the National Tile Contractors Association. And the members of the NTCA have been expressing their interest in the association offering benefits programs such as a 401k and dental, vision, and health insurance. So effective immediately, the NTCA is very pleased to offer a comprehensive, high-quality benefits platform to members in good standing. This is a great tool for recruiting new talent to your company, friends. You can select medical, dental, vision, life, and disability benefits, as well as supplemental benefits and lifestyle products. There are no eligibility restrictions or minimum participation. Go to tile-assn.com for more information on the NTCA-sponsored health, life, dental programs, and more. And the link for that will be in the show notes, friends, so don't go off the road trying to catch that link. tile-assn.com. All right, friends, enjoy this episode with Ben Santos.
89. Every single one has gotten a call back, and you know what every single one of them praises me about?
What?
Oh, great response time. I'm so happy you called me back, or some blend of that.
Like within 12 hours or whatever?
I call back within 24 hours,
24 hours, yeah.
But they always thank me for calling them back.
Yeah.
So what does that say to me? Most people aren't calling people back.
Yeah, it's low-hanging fruit.
Yeah. So in my marketing, I'll always say, I'm the guy that'll call you back. I call every single one of those people. Every single lead that I ever get, I call them back.
Really?
I do. Yeah, because it's just part of the game.
Yeah, I called this contractor back the same day one time, just later that day when I had time, and he was just blown away. He's like, I've called 6 guys in the last 2 weeks, and nobody's called me back. And I said, really? He said, yeah, nobody's calling back. He's like, so if you want the job, it's yours.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Usually when I ask them, am I the first company you've called for this project? And they say, oh, no, I've called a couple others. And I'll say, has any of them called you back? And they'll usually say no. And I'll say, oh, awesome, I'm in the lead then, huh? And that's a fun thing that I say.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I have it kind of rehearsed.
Mm.
I really like to push that, too, as a scripting part of it.
Yeah.
Is because any good salesman that you talk to or that you've read about or anything, they all script stuff.
Yeah.
Initially, at least.
Yeah.
Until it becomes natural.
Yeah.
So that's what I kind of do, because I'm not like witty guy. I'm not like, Richard Pryor or something that can come up with stuff off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I'm not that good at it.
Yeah.
So I script stuff because it helps me to have, it helps me to keep things in line.
Yeah, that's good.
And I kind of use the same canned stuff sometimes, but they don't know that.
It's new to them.
Yeah, they don't know that.
Yeah.
So it works. But back to that number of leads. If you're in business, you have to do it.
Yeah.
And learn how to vet them quickly as possible. And I'm sure I kind of lose some people because my process is so forward. Some people like to meet people and to do business with them. And I get that, but that's just not how I'm going to do it. Because I put in so many hours into making my website, my blog, and all this kind of stuff so that I don't have to do the tap dance every time.
Yeah.
You know, and the people that research are the ones that I want to work for.
Yeah.
And if you're into the belly-to-belly sales thing and the guy coming out and using his time, I usually tell people the first part of my process is just to send me, if they answer badly to any of the questions that I ask. So the qualifying questions are really important.
Yeah.
Most people that say they're a referral or they've been on my website, love my blog, watch my videos, they tell me all, like when I ask, what are the qualities you like to see in the people that work in your home?
Yeah.
You know, and they answer like really good answers that they've really thought. Like Sean Van Dyke said in one of the past podcasts, listen for quantity of words. So when somebody talks a lot about what they want and they've really thought about it, that's a really good customer. And I've really seen that to be very, very, very true.
Yeah, in retrospective, I have too. It's the customers that are really quiet and don't want to say anything. They never work out. They're fishy customers.
No.
I mean, it's like, why aren't you talking?
Yeah.
Why aren't you telling me what you want?
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh yeah, those are the worst. The ones that are like just short.
And even if I think about myself, like I've went kicking tires and new car lots just for fun. And I avoid the salesman by not saying a lot. So it's true. Like I had no intention of buying a car.
Yeah.
And I avoided him by not talking a lot, by giving really short answers, not letting him open me up, you know, and I wasn't his customer that day.
Yeah.
And when I bought this truck, I went in and I basically just bought it.
Yeah.
And so they're like, what do you want? I want a 1-ton diesel.
Yeah. Yeah, but that last question, like I was saying, if they really answer your qualifying questions good, I'll set up an appointment right there to go and meet them.
Yeah.
And I do it at my convenience, not at their convenience, because...
How quick will you try to get out there? Like a day or two at your convenience?
It all depends, I think. I try not to make it more than a week.
Right.
You know, I try to set up my appointments, and I tell them why I do this. I say, we're a small company, we're 2 guys, we actually do the work. So I like to set up my appointments for 8 a.m. so that we have all day to do our job and make money.
Yeah.
And people are usually really receptive to that. They're accepting that that's what it is.
That's a great point. Is you gotta be open and honest with how you operate, and you got to use that to your advantage. Ben's using that to his advantage. He's playing on the fact that the owners are installing the tile. Now, if you're a company and like me, and the owner doesn't install the tile, you use that to your advantage. And you say, I have a crew, so we can get things done quick and efficient and clean. And I'm able to take any of your questions at any time. And I can meet you at the tile shop to pick out tile at your convenience, because that's the way I operate. So I use that to my advantage. I flip the script, you know. You got to use whatever power, you got to find your unique advantage, your USP, your unique selling proposition.
Or your differentiator or whatever.
Yeah.
So usually that's how I do it.
Yeah.
But also when you set up according to your time, it kind of puts you in a little bit more control of the situation as well.
True. Yeah. Like I have a 3 o'clock on Friday or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I like doing it like that. I don't like to go after the job or any of that. I like when I go on a sales call, Jason and I dress up in our best clothes and our uniforms.
Yeah.
We bring out the blue shoe covers. We bring our A game. We try to look the best we can. Yeah. I always found that when we go out and look at stuff in our work clothes, it just makes you look unprofessional.
Yeah.
It's just bad mojo, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But if somebody answers my questions well, I'll go out and make an appointment with them.
Yeah.
If they don't answer my questions well and they're a tire kicker or they're doing price discovery, I use that term though too. I ask them what part of the process, how far along in the process are you? And if they'll say, oh, well, I'm just kind of figuring out pricing. And I said, we can do most of that over the phone.
Yeah.
But if they answer poorly on the qualification questions, I'll say, well, send me a few pictures of your project to this text number or this number, text them.
Yeah.
And What I'll do is I'll send out a rough estimate of what I think it's going to cost, if that's within your budget, to have professionals do your work. What I'll do is I'll come out and I'll do a sales presentation and a consultation, and I use that type of language to make it sound like it's a serious thing.
Right.
Because frankly, it is.
Yeah.
When you look at how long it takes you to do bids, it takes us like 5 hours. It's a major pain. It's like, you want people to feel like it's an important thing.
Yeah.
You don't want to just play, I'll be right out.
Well, that's part of laying the groundwork and making them understand, like you said, it's an important thing. It's real business. It's real time, and it's not a quick process. A lot of consumers are fooled into thinking this is all a quick process, and it's not. You're going to be in there for a couple weeks when you open up somebody's shower. There's something's going to come up. You got a lot of moving parts there. So you're going to be in there for a while. You want them to know that it's a serious business from the beginning.
Yeah. So I use that kind of language. I'll say, well, come out and do a sales presentation, a consultation, and then after that, and I usually say I'll put on my Sunday go to meeting clothes to make them know that I'm going to present myself in such a way that I'll do. And then after that, I'll say, then I'll send you out a detailed proposal for you to look over, and it'll act as a contract. We have a $250 scheduling fee to get on our schedule. And usually I tell people about the scheduling too in the beginning of the conversation about how we do things, that we're, a two-man crew. And basically what we do is we schedule things out. You're going to send us a $250 scheduling fee. That's going to put you at the end of our schedule. And as we work through the jobs and come closer to yours, that we'll give you a call and tell you we're a month out. And then that's when we do your job.
And the reason for the blue shoe covers and the good clothes and the not going over there after work in thin set clothes, like he said, is professional. What does he mean by that? Well, think about it. If you're going over there after work in your dirty clothes, the reasoning behind that, and because I'm a contractor for 20 years, or I'm a worker for 20 years, I'm a contractor for 10, right? I'm a worker for 20 years in the tile business. So I know the reasoning. I understand it. The reasoning is, well, they're going to see that I'm a hard worker. They're going to see that I'm actually a worker. That's what you're thinking in your head. For those of you that are running out, and you're trying to squeeze the most out of a day, but you're reasoning like, oh, it's cool because they'll see that I'm an actual worker. The problem with that might have used to work, and it still does work. It's going to land you cheap jobs if that's what you're looking for, because those people are thinking, oh, this guy's a hard worker and he's overworked, so they're going to start. You're going to end up with the cheap jobs. You're not going to end up with the expensive jobs, because the ones that you do want, the ones that are actually willing to pay you double what you're charging on the cheap ones, is they're looking for that professional. So when you give them your best, Ben said he gives them his best clothes. He wears his best clothes out there. It's triggering in their mind. I'm hiring a professional. I'm hiring somebody that I could eat dinner with. I'm hiring somebody that I wouldn't mind having in my house for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So it's the whole mental thing, right?
Yeah, you're just trying to, like you said, plant that seed.
Yeah.
But the phone skills thing is a whole separate set of skills, really, to develop, and it took me a while. I think back to the times and some of the stuff I used to say to people over the phone when I first started doing it, and I was like so embarrassed. Like that, I'm so embarrassed now to think of it.
Yeah.
But I put time into like educating myself and taking phone courses, and a good one was this lady called Wendy Weiss. And she has like an online course, and I purchased it for $29, I think it was. And she sends like ebooks, and she like gives like generic coaching. And I learned things like when you're leaving a voicemail, you say your name clearly, you say the company you're with clearly, you say your phone number clearly. You give the body of your message quick and concisely, and then you say your name, company, and phone number again at the end. Thank you, and then hang up.
Right.
Or another tip I learned from her was never hang up first.
Really?
Always wait till they hang up first, and then you hang up.
Why is that?
Because you don't want to seem like you're short with people, you know?
Okay,
If you're
in case they had one more thought.
Oh, yeah. Or if you say, oh, all right, bye, and just hang up. Let them hang up first. It seems inconsequential.
Yeah.
But, to me, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't want to seem like a short person,
Interesting.
Yeah, just a tip there.
Yeah.
So those little things, I can always tell now, like, people that aren't, like, on the top of their game with their phone game, because they'll leave me a message, and it'll be like, yeah, hey, this is the phone about 679, and then hang up. I can't even understand what the heck they're saying. I know I've left a couple messages like that.
Yeah.
And we've talked about, like, smiling on the phone.
Yeah.
That's so important. Just to sound enthusiastic. That was the last couple podcasts you talked about that. I think that's super important. People want to know that you're enthusiastic about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately that if you, like, I loved what Tom Reber said on the last couple episodes ago, where he's like, put 30% of the amount of time you spent learning the trade of tile into, phone sales, the business side.
Yeah.
And you'll be golden.
Yeah, you'll be ahead of the pack.
Way ahead of the pack. Yeah. And also, I like to also say to put 30% of time into things that you're weak at. Because most people spend a lot of time in their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make you any better.
Solid point, yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I did with my phone game.
Yeah, and we've all heard the saying, no pain, no gain.
Yeah.
It's the same with the business and everything. Like, if you're comfortable, you're not growing. If you're comfortable where you're at, like, do you really want to grow? Because now if you want to grow, you got to get uncomfortable. Like, do those things that are hard. If starting a Google My Business page is hard for you, if tech is hard for you, like, spend some time at it.
Yeah.
Either that or you're going to have to hire somebody. Like, you could hire us. If that's easier. But what's better is for the owner of the business. The reason we're telling you to do this is it's better for you. It's better if you do it because it comes right from you. You know your business. You should be the one, leading your marketing because you're the business owner.
Yeah, personally, I've been thinking about lately, my weakness is, like, after we send out a bid, we just let that thing float.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And, it's really uncomfortable to do that follow-up call.
Yeah.
And I've been really thinking about starting to do that more and following up and saying, hey, you got my bid. What did you think about it? Because that's some market research. But let me tell you what, that is so uncomfortable because you're going in to get possibly rejected right to your face.
Yeah.
And you're going to take it right on the chin.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I agree there.
That's another thing that I'm kind of working on. I'm weak at. And I've talked myself out of over the last couple bids we've sent. I've talked myself out of calling them back and following up.
Really?
Yeah, because it's so difficult to put yourself in that position to take it on the chin.
Yeah.
And hear that your price is too high, or to hear that you didn't, show them the value that they wanted, or all this kind of stuff, right?
Right.
So that's definitely something, run after that weakness. And I'm trying to do that every day.
Yeah.
But the follow-up thing, that's tough.
Yeah.
Have you followed up with people before when you'd send bids?
Yeah, I have, but I was pretty weak with it myself. Like when I was busy, there was no follow-up. I was just busy enough that there's no follow-up. But I have followed up on jobs, especially ones that were really attractive that I wanted. And like you said, it's a very uncomfortable process, especially over the phone. Email follow-up's easy. Do you do email follow-up or no?
No, sometimes, but not regularly.
What I would do is I really dislike it that most people don't respond to your email. Like, thanks for getting to me this on time. I asked you to get it to me in 24 hours and you did. Thanks. They don't even say that.
Listen,
so you don't know that it to go into their junk folder. So what I would do is I just email them after a couple days. Did you get my email? Or I'd say oh hi, I'm following up. I wanted to make sure you received my estimate. I never heard back from you. Can you please confirm receipt? And then I mean, honestly, a couple times over the years, they would say, I never did receive it. So then it was like an issue, like, oh, that first one went, or if they didn't follow, or if they didn't respond because I asked them, then I would call them. And a lot of people won't even respond when you ask. And then when you call them, like Ben says, they're going to tell you, you know what, your price is way too high, you're out of your mind. And that's uncomfortable. That's like, nobody wants to hear that, but it's just part of being a business owner.
Yeah, if we expect like our customers or like our leads to be like polite, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rude people out there, and I don't even think like customers know what it means to like be a good customer. There's no like book on that or anything, or like there's no like, So that's a tough one. Yeah, we gotta like really have like thick skin out here.
Yeah,
in this business for sure.
Yeah, well, that's a good point too. Like, don't take it personal. Like the majority of the population is not smart about construction, and like they're, one of my questions, one of my qualifiers was always their age and if they'd ever remodeled before. Because if this is your first remodel, I mean, if this, chances are like you're price shopping because you just don't understand. You haven't been burned. Like Ben says, some of his best customers have been burned recently with really bad tile contractors or contractors in general, and they're looking for the professional, and they'll pay a premium for it. They're honestly they're not shopping on price at that point. They'll basically pay whatever you ask for if you sell them and you're the professional that they want. And that's the best customer, and that was my best customer. Now, some of these millennials out in California do have a lot of money, and they, if they want something, they buy it. So I also had some of that from Instagram and stuff. But for the most part, I was in a retirement community and stuff, and I found it really good because most people have been burned by contractors if they're in their 60s and 70s, and that was my ideal customer.
What are some of these red flags we were talking about earlier over the phone about, when you hear these people after your qualification questions on the phone, if they say these kind of words that you kind of get eliminated? If
they're selling their house.
So if they're moving.
That's a huge red flag.
Why is that?
Why would they put money into the house that they're trying to get out of real quick? Like, why would they invest $10,000 in a shower?
If you're selling something that lasts and you're building quality, why do they care?
Yeah, why do they care?
They're not going to pay extra for that.
They're shopping on price and time. Like, they want it yesterday and for nothing.
Yeah.
So a home flipper, not your customer. They're trying to make the most money and spend the least they can.
Presumably everybody that's listening here is a quality installer.
Oh, for sure.
So, I mean, mind you, if you're like a blow-and-go guy that, just sticks tile on the wall, then go at it.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
If it's your first year, get any job you can. If your kids are hungry, get any job you can. But, that's not really the audience here. So... house flippers, they're not your ideal customer. They're never going to be, they're always going to want it the cheapest.
Here's a good one.
Yeah.
I usually do my own tile work.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that one.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Or I hung all the Durock.
Yeah.
The shower's ready for you.
Yeah.
I hung all the Durock. It's ready to go.
Or all the material is here.
Yeah.
Well, the one with I usually do my own tile work, I eliminate people on that because your labor price cannot compete with zero.
Yeah.
They're not, when they do their own tile work, they don't pay money.
Yeah.
So if
they believe that it's easy as pie.
Yeah. And so any price that you give them is going to be too much compared to them doing it for zero.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's a good eliminator.
I usually eliminate people on that one. But if my antenna go up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The people that are selling, I usually do my own tile work. My antenna go up when I ask, like, what, have you ever had tile? Yeah, I've had tile work done before. Like, okay, how was your experience? Oh, really good. And I automatically start to think, like, well, why aren't you calling the people that did it before?
Yeah.
one of my reasons would be because they're trying to find a better price.
Right.
You know, and
Right.
that's not it. Usually I eliminate people based when they, on the initial phone call, if I ask what qualities do you look for in a tile contractor, and they say, oh, somebody that's cheap, or so somebody that's not too expensive.
Yeah.
I always say to them, well, you'll definitely find somebody way cheaper than me.
Just be upright.
Yeah, just
Upfront.
straight up front with them about it.
Yeah.
And then I'll start talking about numbers, about what it actually would cost for me to come and do the job.
Yeah.
Somebody that talks about price initially without ever thinking about value or what they're getting
Yeah.
is usually not gonna, you know, like I look for those words, cheap, somebody that's not too expensive. Those type of words are an eliminator usually.
Yeah. So what all this is, in a nutshell, if we could just boil it down, you've got to get your phone to ring a lot. You've got to get a lot of leads.
So Google and YouTube.
And you've got to get good on the phone, because what you want to do is you want to eliminate 80% of those phone calls right off the bat. You want to eliminate that. And then with the other 20% that you're actually going out to their home, you might get, you might get 80% of those jobs. So you want to be winning 80% of the 20%. It's the Pareto principle. It brings it back to the 80-20 rule. Eliminate 80% of the people who call you are not your customer. 20% might be, but you only need 80% of those. Like, you can keep whittling this down. You know, does that make sense? Did I make sense?
Yeah, that was good.
So basically what you're trying to do is find your perfect customer. And that just takes a lot of work. That just takes a lot of phone calls. That just takes a lot of effort and practice.
What were we saying earlier? Like, you have to have a lot of calls in to whittle down, basically, to get your ideal customer, for sure.
Yeah. All successful businesses have figured this out. If you want to be like Dirk Sullivan, and have Portland's best tile company. You want to be like J&R Tile, and that's the kind of company you want to set up. You've got to get this marketing thing down. You cannot grow a company by you installing tile and think that you're going to grow a large company, or even a smaller, very renowned, very profitable company.
My example of what's wrong with word of mouth oftentimes is that with word of mouth, say like you do a job for somebody and it's a shower for $5,000.
Yeah.
Anybody that person gives your number to is going to expect a $5,000 shower.
Right.
I've had this happen to us.
Oh, yeah.
To where, the guy that, you do a cheap job for, or an inexpensive job, he gives his number to his friend who's also going to expect an inexpensive job.
Right.
So you can never move up.
No.
And if you do give them a higher price, they're insulted.
Yeah.
Well, why did he get that price? Right.
Yeah. Yep.
So you get caught with the word of mouth game and stuck in your same price.
Yep.
At least with the good marketing on Google, you can kind of break out and get to a higher zone.
Yeah.
Well, you're more than likely to.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. Well, you need those customers. I mean, McDonald's. The Ray Kroc story. Is that his name? Ray Kroc?
Ray Kroc, yeah.
If you ask him what business he's in, he'll tell you real estate. McDonald's is in the real estate business because they know that they have to have that foot traffic. They have to be in that position for customers to see those golden arches and come in. And it's the same thing with a tile contractor business. You have to be in a good position for a lot of customers to see you, and a lot more because of the price. It's expensive to do tile remodel work. It's expensive to do new construction tile work. It's expensive these days just to do anything. You leave your front door, you're going to spend $100.
Yeah, go to the grocery store and get some groceries and see how much that costs you.
You're going to spend a lot of money. So the point is you need a lot of potential customers because 80% of them are not your customer. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, don't be afraid to stick to your program. Sometimes when you do bold marketing, or when you put out a post on Google or whatever, you'll question yourself and say, man, I'm scared of this. This might scare away some people. Just go with it.
Yeah.
You're better off scaring away a couple people than taking a customer that's going to end up being a huge pain.
Yeah.
Like Isaac Ostrom said, he's like, there's no one can screw up your remodel worse than a bad customer.
Yeah.
And man, is that true? Because I've had a couple of them, and they're just, you get, and every time I get one, it's somebody that I've gone off my program, that I kind of bent the rules a little bit of my own personal rules, and taken on somebody that I shouldn't have because I was kind of in a spot, and it always ends up bad.
Yeah.
All right, that was another great episode, and that wrapped up the conversation that I had with Ben on our drive to the airport. So I know you enjoyed that, friends. That's something that definitely is worth having a second listen to, those four episodes. Now, today's Tile Money tip is, of course, sponsored by Laticrete. Ron Nash and I have been discussing the 5 core concerns of negotiation. Last week, we spoke about number 1, which was appreciation. So if you haven't heard that, go back to last week's. And today, we are discussing the second core concern of negotiation, which is autonomy. So autonomy, and Ron will break this down, but I'll break it down my way. Autonomy is basically the capacity to make, a person has to make an informed, on-course decision. So we want to be there for our potential customers, informing them of their choices and giving them options, and of course being the professional, but being very respectful of their choice and their autonomy. So enjoy this Tile Money tip with Ron Nash right now.
Autonomy, okay? So autonomy means this. In that particular situation where we were talking about the general contractor negotiating with you, okay, they have autonomy to make decisions however they want to make.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will tell you that people violate autonomy all the time, okay? So, and trust me, they will act badly when you do. Okay, so for example, autonomy works like this. General contractor gets all these bids, they start to make selections, they can do whatever they want. If they feel that for any reason you're trying to limit their decisions or take their decisions away from them, believe me, they will start behaving badly. Okay, so it's the same thing that you get on the opposite side of the coin when you're selling to a general contractor and they start trying to limit what you can do and how you can behave on jobs. You feel like your autonomy is being threatened. Like, I don't work for him, I have my own company. What's going on here? People start to behave really, really crazy. So it's important that, much like appreciation, that autonomy is addressed in this as well. Mr. General Contractor, I know that you have many decisions. I'm surrounded by competent competitors. I certainly want to help you. You see what I'm saying?
Just build
help
on it.
You drive to the right decision. Anything I can do to answer questions, anything I can do that can help you with your decision will help grease the skids of autonomy. Now you're actually recognizing that he or she has all the power in the world to not come to an agreement with you.
Yeah.
So they're giving them opportunities. Okay. That's going to soothe emotions in a negotiation.
All right, friends. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Tile Money. Please like and subscribe to this podcast wherever you can catch it. Everywhere podcasts are heard or on YouTube. Share this with another tile contractor. I truly, sincerely hope this is helping you to stay profitable, friends.